Des talk shows encourageants pour apporter une étincelle dans votre vie.
Pourquoi pas devenir own boss? La méthodologie pour pouvoir trouver une solution à ça.
Exactement. Sous faire du conseil dans un premier cas, vous pouvez aussi faire une récurrence du conseil.
Des moments de divertissement. Des temps d'enseignement et de prière pour soutenir votre croissance spirituelle et entretenir la flamme de Dieu dans votre cœur. De l'actualité, non seulement pour nous tenir informés, mais aussi pour nous sensibiliser sur les réalités du monde autour de nous. Bethel TV, sharing the gospel around the world. La bonne nouvelle en tout temps et lieu.
Hello guys, how you guys doing? It's me, your girl Gracia Susuzande. Of course, you know me from this amazing beautiful videos on YouTube, doing all these tutorials for you guys, and also why not on Miss Africa GB 2018 and Miss Congo 2018. Well, right now I'm coming with something fabulous. I would like to present to you your new TV show, which is going to be called Etincelle. This show is going to be happening every single Friday at 7 p.m. on Bethel TV. So you probably want to find out why Etincelle. Well, Etincelle is a French word for sparkle. For Etincelle, I would like to bring light into someone's life from the dark place where they are, not knowing really who they are and where they're going, or trying to bring them into the light to really wanting to find out and get to know exactly who they are. And with that, I'll be inviting amazing people who got amazing testimony to be able to help you that is going through so much, that you feel like your life is so blurry, that you don't really know your self-identity. These people will be able to help you as themselves have gone through that, you know. So my message to you today is that God has your back. He got you and will not let you go. That you can come from somewhere and go somewhere. Etincelle. You can now catch me live on Facebook, on Bethel TV, sharing the gospel around the world. Every single Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Connect yourself, don't miss it, as this is going to be a life changer. Hello, how you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing fabulous. Welcome to Etincelle. Etincelle, a French word which means sparkle. Yes, again, we are gathered today's Friday to discuss a topic that is absolutely mandatory. But before that, I wanted to say, please do connect yourself because a lot of people are probably depending on you, this, you know, sharing this show today, as this show is basically put together to be able to bring light into someone's life, right? So we all go through situations, we go through so many things, and sometimes you can be weaker and I can be stronger, but we still going through the same issue. So by me talking about it, it's basically helping you to enlighten something within your life, to recognize something, and for that to take it in, and actually for you to come out of the situation, see it better, understanding the situation better, moving forward towards where you're supposed to be going, because we're all together to be able to help each other. Your life plus my life plus her life is about to, you know, to bring a bigger light into this world that we're living in, that is going through, we just going through so much. All right, so but before we continue into whatever I prepared for you today, I will I'll ask you to give us 2 minutes and we will come back so I can finally introduce my guest to you. Thank you.
Amen.
Bethel TV, sharing the gospel around the world. La bonne nouvelle en tout temps et en tout lieu.
Il est bon d'annoncer le matin ta bonté et la nuit ta fidélité.
Live concert acoustique avec David Lacey. Samedi 11 avril 2020 de 18h à 22h.
Génération en génération, peu importe le temps, les circonstances.
Nord, sud, est, ouest, centre. Je vous invite tous. Le Seigneur vous attend. Le 11 avril 2020. La louange, l'adoration qui brise les chaînes. Mon fire.
Une journée exceptionnelle dans la présence de Dieu. Live concert acoustique avec David Lacey.
Invité spécial, Steve B, Dédé Parole et Israël Loma.
Le temps tu restes toujours le même. Tu es fidèle, Yahweh, tu ne changes pas. Peu importe le temps tu restes.
Address number 10, Through the Road, Walthamstow, London E17 7BY.
Venez très nombreux.
Pleinement convaincu de ceci.
Hello guys, and yes, we are back into your new TV show. As you all know, it's Etincelle, and we have a guest and it's a special guest that I don't want to introduce her. I think it's best if she picks her own words on how to introduce herself, as she's a boss lady and someone that I know very well. But you know what, girl?
Hi, so I'm Josiane, one of the members in Bethel. I am one of the translators in Bethel, and I'm also one of the medical students, and I am here with Grace to make sure that we are still communicating, still making God's work go forward. So we are very grateful for everyone who is connected right now. Please continue to share, ask questions. We are all here together.
Yes, we are all together. You said it very well. So like she said right now, please do connect yourself, share as much as you can, because it's all about creating a bigger audience, right? So through your contact, your contacts, there's probably someone who needs this information that we're going to be talking about today. And also leave a comment. I mean, share. Let's talk, right? Let's have this talk, me and you, and obviously my sister Josiane today. And also I wanted to say that you can also follow this show right now on YouTube, so you can connect yourself on YouTube. You cannot somehow connect yourself on Facebook. And so before we begin, I also wanted to greet everyone else and also say thank you to you, Apostle Mylene, for this opportunity right now. So let's go to the view of the subject.
Let's go in. What have you prepared for these people?
Yes, we have prepared a subject which is touching us, is touching everyone, which is respect. All right, is the youth and respect. And I also wanted to mention that respect is something really sensitive for some, and for everyone around the world. And so we really do not mean to disrespect anyone. We do not mean to say the wrong thing. So we apologize already if we, I don't know, gonna say something that is not right, probably for your religion or anything like that. But it's really to speak on, not to go too deep onto respect, and probably I'm gonna ask you to come back next time for that, but really speaking on the surface and what really respect is, talking about the youth, because as you all know, this month is month of March, and we are honoring women around the world. So wherever you are, women, we honor you. We thank you for everything. And for my knowledge, I came to understand also through history, honestly, that mothers are the one who educates children. Mothers are the one who gives the right direction, because like back in the day, men were the one who goes to the farm to work, and women were the one staying at home and educating. So this is why we touch on respect, because somehow I have women coming up to my ear and telling me like respect
when it comes to youth, he's been taken away. They really don't know what respect means, and they are really crying and say, come on, Grace, is it possible to talk about respect? And I feel like it is mandatory. Respect is something that you cannot live in this world and not knowing really what respect is. And this is why I came across to my sister Josiane, and we will talk about respect, about her views, and then also my views, you know. So let's go into it. So I would like to ask you, right, what does it mean, respect, to you?
I think respect just has different meanings for each person, depending on your perspective, on how you view respect. But in all perspective, respect is always on top.
Yeah.
So to me, the way I show my respect is maybe how I'm greeting people who's older than me, how I speak, the tone of voice that I have, the choices of words that I use, and that's how my mom defined respect to me.
Yeah, I feel the same, because I feel like respect is something like, it's also individual. I mean, you can be, how do I say this, living within your household and you have laws and regulation. I take it as respect is like that, right? It's like the rules and regulation of your home, the rules and regulation when it comes to your husband, to your sister, to your brother, or also like when you go, for example, to your friend's house, let's say my Chris, they have their own rules and regulation that is when it comes to their home. So respect is something that you cannot take away from society. It's not something you can take away from a relationship. Absolutely. It's something that you cannot take away when it comes to, you know, education. And so it's something that people who've been truly educated can tell you about respect, you know.
But I think respect also comes within the boundaries, because you know, each person sets up their boundaries. Each, like, you know, like with past conversations, you can't treat everybody the same. Yes. Because everybody has their limits. Everybody has their boundaries. I may joke with you a certain way that I may not be receptive to another person. Exactly. So the same way me and my Chris, we joke around, may not be the same way me and you joke around. Exactly. But that is within respecting other people's boundaries. You might be someone that doesn't like physical jokes. You might be someone that doesn't like a certain type of jokes or a certain tone of voice. Like, you know, there's certain people that they like to be spoken to very calmly. Yes. That maybe my tone of voice, which I find normal to me, might come across as disrespectful to you. Yes. Or might bring your guards up where you feel like you now need to defend yourself. Yes. And I struggled with that a lot, because even, you know, as a teen or even when I was young, I felt like if someone says a certain word, it's like a trigger. Yeah. If someone speaks to me in a certain tone, it's a trigger. So instead of me communicating to the person and saying, oh, listen, I don't really like the way you said blah, 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 we respond very close. Yeah. Because you're trying to protect yourself. It's just a natural reflex. I agree. And I feel like that's the reason why so many youth struggle with this. And it's just a lack of communication. That's what it is. And also, like, knowing the person, I think it's all about, because we all have our own rules and regulation personally. I think that respect is all about you knowing yourself as well, because when you know yourself, then you know what you like, you know what you don't like, you know what the person you basically don't know what a person can do to you. Do you know what I mean? And so I think respect is also like not just, how do I say this, by you getting to know someone deeply, because there's this general respect, right? Yeah. That I think is for everyone. Like, for example, you can't just walk on the street and call someone by their name just like that, especially when you don't know, especially us Africans. I'll say that like there's a different type of respect there as well. Like I can't just call it like this grown up like by their name. So I'll probably say auntie, or probably say you something just that name, like to show respect. And so but when it comes to someone that is you're intimate with, not just like in a personal relationship, intimate relationship, but just really close,
that is a different respect there as well.
But so, even within that closeness,
yes,
even like, I'll give you an example of me and my Chris. Even the fact that we joke around, we physically, you know, play around with each other, we make jokes that some people are like, are they arguing? Are they fighting? But it's just our way of communicating.
Exactly.
Even within that closeness, we both have boundaries. There is always boundaries established.
Definitely.
I know that we can take it to this level, but beyond this level, we might have a problem. So when we joke around, we try to, you know, continue to respect each other's boundaries. And I think that's what is important, is learning to understand what is the boundaries.
Exactly.
You can make jokes even as we are in isolation right now. Everyone is locked down at home. We're all getting to know our family, regardless on how funny that sounds. But I think it's because we spend so much time in school, at work, outside with our friends, that sometimes we spend maybe an hour, 2 hours with our family, but now we're on lockdown. And now we're starting to learn, like, I can make a joke with my mum, but my mum doesn't like physical jokes.
Exactly.
So it's learning to respect that boundary.
That's because you know her too. This is what I'm saying. Like, I think when you know someone, you know their rules and regulations.
Of course.
When you don't know someone, then that's where you have to go on this general respect thing. And then it's this deeper than that. It really goes deeper. So I wanted to also ask you, like, do you think the youth of, you know, the ones who live here in Europe, you know, not Africa, like really like diaspora, let's say, sees respect differently from the children who live back home? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I got to understand that you traveled to Congo, so you kind of have that experience of here and there. Me, for example, like, I never went back home since I'm here, so maybe you'll be able to enlighten us a little bit more.
I personally think that because of the generation or the time that we are living in, because of the influence of social media, because of, like, you know, people working and parents having, you know, single mothers out there trying to provide for their children and things like that, kids are mostly left to kind of grasp what they want to grasp. And although at the times African children were viewed very different, you know, even when your mom speaks to you, moi quand j'étais à Kin, je faisais nanana. Okay, cool. But even now, at the times that I've traveled, I don't really see that big difference unless you go to the proper people who still practice culture. And that's where the respect, because I've got, like, Nigerians, friends, Ghanaian friends, and we can joke around, you can see them, you know, acting how a normal youth act. But it comes a time where, let's say I went to Costco with one of my friends, and as we are shopping, you know, we was in this was years ago, we're shopping in Costco, everyone's laughing, everyone's making jokes, everyone's acting silly with the trolley. We ran into one of his parents' friends, and at that same moment, because you know how Nigerians and Ghanaians greet, he completely laid it on the floor to greet them. And to me, that showed humbleness, it showed respect. But it was just shocking that, you know, we can go from this to, whoa, and then what's going on here? And I think that's what people need to learn, to define the two. There's a time to play and there's a time to be serious. And at that moment, it made me realize that respect is not just a Congolese thing. It is, because that's what I view. Because when you're young and you go to your friend's house and you hear how your friends are talking to their parents, I remember I used to sit there in shock. I'd be like, on t'a pas tapé? On t'a pas giflé? What's going on? But then when I go to my house and when my mom calls you once, you know you got one more time, bro. After the second time, it's over for you. So that's how I had to learn how to respect, how to, you know, the boundaries and the regulation of your household, even going to other people's families. Like when we would go out with my mum to, let's say, a family friend, that's the time you're supposed to show that you are well brought up. You know, when we're sitting in the house and we finish eating dinner, even though we are in a stranger's house, my mum would look at me and be like, excuse you, time to clear the table, time to do the dishes. So naturally now when I go to people's house, as soon as we eat, you see me cleaning up, because it's in my head. And I think the people or the generation that we're seeing now, maybe that wasn't implied the same way.
I agree.
But you need to understand that although we are still considered as the youth, our youth, the 90s babies and the 80s baby, we are completely different to the millennium babies. We are different to the 2000 babies.
Yeah.
So our ways of thinking that, you know, because we've been brought up with culture, although we may not have as much culture as our parents or understanding, let's say, traditional wedding and stuff like that, we have half the culture and half the media. Because we still had our 10 years before social media came through. We still had our youth before the social media came through. And then we continue to grow with the social media.
I agree.
But the children born in the 2000 decade and stuff like that, they have just learned social media. Even if you see people like Kian, from a young age, they're on the tablet.
They already know.
They see and this person speak to their parents like that. I'm gonna test the boundaries, blah blah blah. But that's why I feel like that generation is completely different to our generation.
I agree.
And our generation is completely different to our parents' generation. And on and on and on it goes. My parents were not brought up the same way that my grandparents were brought up. My grandparents were not brought up the same way that their parents were brought up. Every generation has its own mark.
I agree.
But respect is always the foundation.
Always the foundation. I remember someone told me, I mean, we had a discussion way back, and it was because where I used to live, what's it called? Someone left an item.
Okay.
And I specifically didn't even want to touch it. Why? It was not mine, so I didn't feel like, why should I touch it in the first place? So when then the other person was like, no, but he's probably not even gonna need it anymore, and so what you just take it and use it, whatever. So I completely just said no, I cannot. And also that's because like I've been brought up like, whatever is not yours, don't touch it, right? Exactly. And this brings me to at the time when I was speaking to another friend who told me, oh, what you're saying is completely right, because he basically was brought up in the village.
Okay.
All right, so
see,
the
that's
village is completely different, right?
Absolutely.
Where like, so he was telling me how in his village, it's like, even if you leave like a pot outside, like someone that is passing by will not touch it. And that is rules and regulation is like that is, so you can live wherever it is, that it could be earrings, wherever you left it outside no one will take exactly. So the next day you're still going to find it, because like what is yours, that is that respect, and if you touch it, something always bad happens to that person. So respect, it definitely goes beyond. There is like no borders, like, you know, boundaries. It really goes further up. And so this brings me to ask you, would you be able to define, or can you define youth? What is a person, youth?
For me,
yeah,
I think there's many definitions of a youth.
Okay.
There is the mental side of the youth. Regardless of your age, you are forever young, depending on what you have up here.
This brings me to the side of the song of Beyonce,
forever young. And it's like, even when we look at our moms and stuff like that, even in prayers, you see, like, we are young, we are strong. It defines, for when you speak about the youth in one perspective, it defines your strength, it defines your capacity, because we see youth as, you know, energetic people, people that are strong, people that are healthy, and to some people that is a perspective of youth, and to some people it's your age that defines your if whether you are still a youth or not. And that's my definition of youth.
What's your definition? What is your definition? No, I totally understand that. How does it is? Youth to me means energy.
Absolutely.
Because you can be 40 years old, but you still have that energy.
Yes.
You still you're probably 50, but you still have that energy. So, and then when you're younger, let's say like the age of 10, 9, to me you're not really youth. I mean, you're young, you're the child to me, but the energy is not there yet, I guess. But then again, I agree with you when you say it's all about the mindset as well. And so like, for example, like consider apostomizing
As young.
as young youth,
course.
right? So, and yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely your energy, definitely your strength, because even scientifically, if you stay young up here, all this would follow.
Exactly.
It's all about your mental state. It's about the state that you're in, and the brain has so much power and capacity on how your body functions. Because if you mentally tell yourself that you are sick, you will become sick.
Does affect.
If you mentally tell yourself you are stressed, you will become stressed.
Exactly.
And we've seen so many examples of people, you know, comme la femme là, comment elle s'appelle? She's like in her 80s. She still goes to the gym.
I know.
She's still doing pull-ups. She's doing things
I
that
was
I can't
shocked.
do.
I was
And I'm
really-
looking at her like, damn. But she's like, it's all up here. In her
It's
mind,
all
she
about
is young.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the youth is.
I agree totally. But would you say as well that when it comes to, when I'm saying young, I'm targeting children around like not really preschool, but up from, let's say, from the age up to, let's say, 18, that youth should have been taught respect in school. Because it's something like, because we're talking about education, and being educated is someone who knows how to respect, right? I mean, respect is also that mandatory as much as being educated. Right?
Yeah.
So, do you think that like school are taking away something that is also important to be taught to our young people?
I think in every aspect of your life, you are always taught respect. Everywhere you go, whether it's in school, coming back to classes before a certain time. I remember even me at my big age, driving to Cambridge to get to uni, and there was traffic on the motorway. I got to uni 20 minutes late, and guess what? I was not allowed in. That's respect. Because to her, she felt as the fact that you couldn't keep track of your time, and the fact that you are arriving 20 minutes late, you are disturbing my class.
Exactly.
So she felt disrespected.
Yeah.
So I had to obey and wait outside. I could have been a person that feels entitled. No, I paid 9,000 to be here. You are going to open up the door to me, blah, blah, blah. No, I had to respect her decision. And sometimes respect just comes from listening.
Exactly.
And I feel like this is what the younger people struggle with nowadays, to listen.
Yes.
Because of social media, because of the development of social media, where people are now able to become superstar by your status, you are able to make money while you are at home, you are able to make money from making videos. I feel like the younger generation feels like they are obligated to now grow. And within that obligation to grow, they are missing so many aspects. You can't tell them nothing.
Exactly.
You tell them something, they tell you, I know. You tell them this, oh, this person on social media said blah. It's the same thing with even just the isolation period. Because this is what London is struggling the most with. There's been rules that's been laid out to save you guys, to save the doctors, to save the nurses, stay at home. Simple regulation.
And none of them.
You can't follow them.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you know better.
You know better.
You feel like because social media has told you that this is what's happening, they're trying to do this. They're all perspectives. None of these is reality to an extent. All the comments, all the messages, they're all people's perspective.
1 second, I think we are receiving a phone call from someone who probably wants to say something about this. Yes, Apostle?
Yes, I'm very delighted and very happy to hear such conversation coming from Josiane Ami. Josiane, I am very, and I love my voice, I echo it, I'm very impressed. You are humble, you are saying the truth, and I believe there is a lot of points that you people need to consider on the message that you are having coming from different and wires laws and principles, and I'm so happy that you are touching them. I want you to go deep. My daughter, I want to come and kiss you there. I want you to go deep. Go deep into your mind. Talk about that. Don't fear. Talk about respect. Don't go around here, the corner over there. What you are saying is so true. But you people are going so fast. You are missing few points that you still stay there and talk about that. Read commentaries that on your page and discuss. We have plenty of time in this confination time. We will bring you back here and talk about those things because there's no other things to do. I love you. And again, Gracia, you know how much I love you. We are together. May the Lord bless you and keep on inspiring me. You have my love. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Apostle, for calling. We kind of needed that. Thank you. All right, you just had some praise. I like that. I think once again, like, respect is something that a lot of mothers are really calling for us to come back into, because this generation is, like we said, is not the same generation as back then. Which actually I wanted to ask you, do you believe or do you think that the generation that is now, the young people that we have now, are the same sort of young people that were like back then, like in times of our grandparents and parents? We need to know the differences. Like,
I feel like within my generation, our generation, the 90s babies,
yes,
I feel like our generation, when we were growing up, we had a different system in the world. We had a different bringing up. For example, on the weekends, what did we do for fun? We went bike riding. We went playing in the garden. We didn't have all these digital things or technology that we have in this generation.
I agree.
And I feel like for us there was less pressure, because all we had to do is obey your parents. We had to go to school. We had to come home from school. We play with our friend. The only stress that you actually have is if your friend is not talking to you. That's the only stress you have.
I agree.
You have no other stress. But within this generation here, and before even skipping to this generation, the only what's the word for it? The only heart pain or heartache that we had, or let's say even bullying, was at school. And when that's done, you go home, you forget.
That's true.
Right? You have one problem. This generation here that's growing up with technology, growing up with social media, you are facing the world. Our world was our neighborhood. Our world was the people that our parents knew. That's it.
That's what it is. I remember that school for me was the best thing ever. I mean, I used to be so excited to go back on Monday. I mean, I'll be putting my shoes, my tray, my
fit ready
for tomorrow. And as soon as I come, I'm like, have you seen my hair? Like, that was just the best. And when it's Friday, I was not happy at all, because I'm like, damn, I'm just gonna see them on Monday again. And honestly, the best times, and that allowed, I think, me as well to bond even more with my siblings, because like you said, there was less pressure, there was less problems to deal with. My surrounding was my family, was my people around me, and then if there's something, we deal with it then and there. So the time that I grew up to and then start even having a phone, when was that? I think
I had my phone in year 7.
But
that's only because you had to get the bus on your own.
Okay, that's for protection, obviously.
And that was the Sony Ericsson.
I think I had my phone when I think it was 17 or 18. Honestly, like that is quite late when it comes to children in this generation, where like 5 years old, they already have their phones. So it's really a different balance.
They've got a lot of pressure to deal with, a lot of social media to deal with, people around the world, people to please. You feel like you need to become someone else in order to please the world. Well, our generation, we just had to please ourselves.
I agree.
We had to be who we wanted to be, not who the world wants us to become. And now these generation are now not only going to school and going home and having family life and stuff like that, they are dealing with people that they don't even know of.
I agree.
People that are telling them that you need to dress this way, you need to do this, or you post this type of picture, you ain't cool enough. You do this, or you're losing like. They have that to worry about too. And I feel like that's the reason why this generation is the way they are. But then at the same time, we can't go back in time. We can't change that. We can only move forward. And by moving forward, and especially at this time of the confinement, this is a time for you to get to know your children. This is a time for you to get to know your parents. Understand them, respect them within each one of your boundaries.
I agree.
And learn how to communicate, because I think that's the biggest issue, is the communication.
Communication is
everyone
really,
feels attacked. Everyone feels victim.
And always they feel like they should defend themselves.
Exactly.
Because there's no the understanding is not really there.
Exactly.
So I wanted to ask you, in our context, like, how would you, like, not even there, but can you give me an example of a respect?
Would be listening. That's what I feel like that I'm learning right at this moment. And these are things that I probably took for advantage in the past. These are things that I probably struggled with in the past. And right now it's the listening part. And I feel like God is speaking to so many people right now. And he is speaking to you, but in order for you to hear him, you need to listen. And God is speaking through many ways. God is speaking to different people. Like, you don't just have to be a man of God or someone that's serving God for God to speak to you. God is speaking to many people. God is speaking to you on how to live as a family. God is speaking to you how to be united as a family. God is speaking to you on how you communicate with each other. This is the period where we're supposed to be learning new things. This is the period where God has, put us all in this house. There's a reason why you are in the family that you are in. So now you need to exercise that. There is strength in every single family. There is a blessing. There is a c'est comme les fruits de l'esprit.
D'accord, ouais.
There's like a seed in every single family.
Minister Carly actually spoke about the
the
the fruits of the Holy Spirit, which is very, very, very important.
Definitely.
And I think right now, if we need to go religiously, this is the time to ask someone who knows God's heart and God's mind, and it's nobody else than the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
But then again, we don't really want to shift towards that. Let's continue in this box right now. So you are youth, you are young, so what would you say the three major problems that youth are facing today in our day, every day?
Well, my number one top pick would be identity crisis. I don't think anyone knows who they are. Ooh, and it's only in God that we find out who we are. It's only in these time and these periods that we understand who we are. What are you called to do? Because even social media is on hold right now. We can make all the TikTok videos that you want. You can make all the Snapchats that you want. But the world is on hold. There is no movies. There is no let's go to the cinema.
The restaurants are
closed. Learn who you are. Identify yourself. And in God, he will reveal things that you need to start working on. And even in your family life, learn what role you play in your family. I think second of all, besides identity crisis, I think maybe lack of communication as well. And the third one,
how is communication important, do you think?
I think communication is very important, especially before this whole lockdown. The crime rates, the knife rates, the gun rates, and things like that. And I think most of these youthful arguments, or these youth that feel like we need to be a certain something, we need to, carry knives, or even just the crimes itself, I think most of them are due to lack of communication.
I agree.
Because I can come to you and say, Grace, do you know, blah 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 said blah 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 about you, la la la, But because of the lack of communication and because the world is driven by emotions, you feel angry,
upset.
You ain't even gonna go ask this person if what I said was true. You are then going to attack. But then when you attack that person automatically feels angry too. They're gonna come back and attack you.
I agree.
And in all this mix up, when you truly ask the question, what is the problem? No one's able to answer the question.
It is blank, like,
because I'm angry, because it's all emotions. Let's start thinking with your brain and less with your emotions.
I agree.
And then we can have a communication. Because a communication does not mean that two parties have to agree. I can say to you, Grace, I feel like this is my perspective, blah blah blah. You may feel a different perspective, but that's okay. There's always different side to every story. There's always different side to every resolution. But understanding that my perspective is okay and your perspective okay, you realize then we don't have a problem.
True.
Because we are not all called to think the same. Because if we are, then we'll be robots. We are called to all have different perspectives. And that's how the world works, and that's how the world goes round.
And that's how people grow.
That's how you grow. Because you may say something to me today, and I may think, oh, Grace is being mean, she doesn't understand, blah blah blah. 5-10 years later, I may be sitting in my living room and I think back and I say, oh, I remember that day Grace said this to me. It makes sense now. The same way with our parents. Before, I used to think I was adopted because my mum and dad never used to let me go out. Like, yo, I was
That's
never
really
allowed out. I had to be home by
goodness.
6 o'clock on a Saturday.
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday. Et puis avant de sortir, tu dois nettoyer toute la maison.
That's
So by the time I finish my chores, it's like 2-3 o'clock. By the time I get ready, it's like 4 o'clock. I've got 2 hours to go out.
Oh my goodness.
On weekdays, I had to be home before 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm talking about when I'm 18. This ain't when I'm 15. I'm talking about 18, 19. So at that time, I felt like my parents hate me.
Yeah.
They don't like me. I must be adopted. Blah, blah, blah. Ils m'envoient chaque fois. I have to do the dishes. I have to do this.
They don't love
But
me.
now that I'm living in campus and I have my own child and I had my own home, if I didn't learn all these skills, or if I wasn't told that, you know, you have to be home at a certain time, if there was no discipline, I wouldn't be the woman I am today.
True say.
But then at that time, it was viewed negative.
Yeah.
But now,
You
10
think about
years
it.
later, 9 years later, I'm thinking, wow, okay, it made sense.
Yeah.
When my mom used to say this to me, and now I have my own child, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some things you
That
just
makes
need
you
to give it
grow.
time to settle down. Don't always be closed to people's comments, people's advice. There's advice that you can take, and there's advice that you say no. But you need to be open to receive something.
Exactly.
But if you're always closed, and I know how it feels to be that person that is always closed, you are preventing yourself from growing. And as you're doing it, you feel like you are protecting your inner self. You are actually stopping your growth.
I agree.
And yeah, that's my perspective.
That's your perspective. Okay, let's continue. Would you agree with me if I say to you that respect is also listening?
Definitely.
Well, you said it
Yeah,
anyway,
definitely.
right? Respect is definitely listening too. And so, oh, 1 second. We have another call. Yes?
I don't know if I have to bring flowers to Josiane down there. Oh my God, you need to stay open and not reject what they are telling you. Read commentaries, read commentaries on on your page. Participate with us. There are so much that you are missing.
Yeah.
I don't know why they are not calling you, but this show is really interesting. Come on, Josiane.
Amen.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Apostle. So yeah, I was actually waiting for you to finish so I can be able to read the comments that's been said. But then, so let me show you. Somehow, I don't know. Bear with me, guys.
We're just trying to get through
to the comments. Yeah, I can't seem to. It's not showing on my screen. What the contact number. So you can give yours. I'll give mine. So yeah, feel free to call us. I'm just gonna drop the number right now. So it's
Can you put your number down?
yeah, I'll put my number through. It's 073 95 62 6339. Yeah. So that's the number. We have a couple minutes left. Like at least 20 minutes. So feel free to call us right now. So what else has been said? Contacts. Give a call. Which number? Oh yeah. So because I think she wanted to say something. Hello, my Chris.
touching on conversations that, you know, are not really had in families, and what Josen was saying about how the virus is having a positive impact in a way of having all parents at home now. And
we have another call. I'll call you back.
You know, there's so much that has happened that happens throughout the days that I think we just forget, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm just really loving the conversation. Just keep it going. Don't forget the comments, because we're having debates down there.
Okay. I'm trying to connect, but I can't seem to see it. But I'll try. Okay.
Yeah, like Josen, I'm so proud of you, and you just need to let the world know there's more to come. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Just what you're doing.
Thank you, bestie.
Thank you so much.
What you're doing.
Thank you so much, my Chris. Thank you. Bye bye. So we just had another call from Mama Blanche, which I'm gonna call back right now. And we're having quite a lot of phone calls. Oh goodness me. 1 second.
Daniela, we'll call you back. Call you back.
She's Mama Blanche.
Can we answer this, please?
Yeah, go.
Hello. Oh.
Well, let's try to continue a little bit in the same time, or should you want to call?
I'll just call.
Yeah.
Just to see if she's got another question, because we can't seem to see these questions.
That is so true. Somehow we can't
I
seem
don't
to
know
see.
why. Hello. Hi, Daniela.
Hello, Vivian. Honestly, all I'm trying to say is I am so proud of everything you're saying. Honestly, like you're saying about the 90 babies and the generations that were born in is all different, and all aspects are being put into the, when we're in this isolation now, learning from our parents, the discipline that they're giving us, and everything you're saying, I just can't help but agree and understand and relate to it so much. So I'm just gonna say well done, honestly. Gracia, thank you for understanding as well.
Thank you so much. Mama Blanche, 1 second. Just hold on. Yeah, hold on, mommy, hold on.
Just look at the comments as well, because we're just
We can't seem to connect and see the comments for some reason. Yeah.
well, we're having the same down here, so we are obviously truly in tune, and we are listening to everything you're saying, and carry on doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Keep
Daniela.
dropping them comments.
Alright.
Alright, love you. Bye.
Alright, so right now we have Mama Blanche. Hello, Mama Blanche.
Hello there.
How you doing, mommy? Thank you so much for tuning in. Yes.
Lockdown here.
Yes. Yes. We did.
We're okay. Thank you, Mama Blanche.
Alright. Yes, I wanted just to point out something when we're talking about respect
Yeah.
and communication.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to say something. This is really, really interfering in communication. That's the device, the electronic device we're holding, telephone, tablet, laptop.
Yes.
So we might say we're here in lockdown, we are home, but you're gonna see each one of us holding our phone, one in the bedroom, the other one in the kitchen,
Exactly.
the other one in the toilet,
Yes.
bathroom, and we're not communicating. So I think we should lock down all the devices for a while, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, so that we can actually communicate.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's also a sign of respect.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That is so true.
Definitely.
It's something that we should mention.
Alright,
Definitely.
that's what I have to say. So take care, guys.
Thank
Thank you so
Mama
much, Mommy Blush. We love you too. Thank you. Bye bye.
So definitely, I think that
she just touched something very important.
So what she just said, she has basically said that she feels like even though we are on lockdown, people are still isolated in their own corners due to mobile phones, technology. I think that every household should establish their own routine at this point, because we don't know how long this is going to last for.
Exactly.
And you should use this time that you have wisely to now establish the things that you may not have had the time to establish it due to work, due to education, due to whatever the reasons were. This is now the time to start rebuilding your foundation. If in this corner there was a foundation that wasn't very solid, rebuild them. If you feel like you want to establish that the rule, you know, when I was growing up, we weren't allowed no phones during dinner time. We had to eat in the salon, in the dining room. So while you are in the dining room, my mom, my dad, they used to find it very disrespectful that you are on your mobile phone. So they had to be turned off. The television had to be turned off. You had to be excused to leave the table.
Yes.
We had to learn how to eat with knife and forks. You are not allowed to put your elbows on the table.
Oh,
These are small things that the school is not able to teach your kids, that we as parents may not have had the time to do so due to work, due to when you get home from work, but it's 5 o'clock, maybe it's 6 o'clock. The kids need to eat, then we need to be showered, then we need to go to bed, homeworks need to be done. There wasn't enough time.
I agree.
You can't just see the negative side of this lockdown. There is a positive side to every situation.
I agree.
And at this time, take the time, teach your kids the stuff that you've always wanted to teach. Like, for example, at this present moment, me and Jessica are so excited to start teaching Kian African history.
Oh, wow.
Black history. These are things that we've been complaining as the youth that we've never been taught at school. Now the power of teaching is in your hands. Don't waste time and let them just, you know, ils vont aller jouer dans le coin là-bas, they're going to play football, they're on the PlayStation, they're on this. Use the time wisely.
Take control of it.
Take control of your family. Put them in a position where they are ready to now fly when the gates are open. When this virus is taken away, when everything is back under control, where schools have been when schools reopen, this is the time for you to excel now. God is giving you time to prepare. And for a while, even with myself, and I've spoken to the apostle, God has been telling me from September, Jay, you need to get ready. Jay, you need to get ready. And I never understood ready in what term. And then I started to understand that maybe it's my spiritual growth that needs to be ready. So I'm just like, okay, cool, I need to start praying, I need to start doing this, I need to start changing the way I do things. But then this lockdown happened, and I realized that maybe God wasn't just talking about my spiritual side. Maybe he was telling me you need to get ready to grow. You need to get ready to move forward. You need to get ready to now be equipped in yourself and where you want to be positioned in life. So don't just look at it as, oh, the government has isolated us in the house and we can't do. If you come out of this isolation and there is no growth in you, all them projects that you've been thinking, artists, people that are out there, you want to be a fashion designer, start designing your clothes. This is the period.
This is the time.
Every business has been closed. They're talking about the financial economy of the world is dropping. This is the time for you to rebuild. Gates are being opened, doors are being opened. Don't just be someone that is just looking in one direction and all you're seeing is negativity. All you're seeing is what social media is portraying to you. We're seeing the news, we're seeing cases of oh, in this country the cases have grown, in this country the death rates and everything.
So sorry to cut you
no,
but I'm just gonna quickly take on this call, which is Mama Mireille. Hello Mama Mireille, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. You're all looking very nice and beautiful. And
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
My question is that I would like to understand, because you're talking about respect, and then you have mentioned about the difference in culture, you know, in terms of you know, respect in an African, how we can say, African way of understanding respect. And you also talked about the, you know, the I wouldn't say European way, but I would say this nowadays, you know, these times that we're talking about. So I think I would like to explain to us, in your understanding, or in the youth of today understanding of respect, is just to help us parents, because your understanding of respect might be different to what we understand as respect, and that will help us parents to kind of bring ourselves, you know, our mind together and then build from it. Because if we don't understand respect in your way of understanding, I'm talking about the youth of today, and we have it's not an old way, because I can see in comments somebody put like a question about fear. You understand? And it could be maybe in African way, or in the olden way, respect could be maybe, you know, a way of bringing up.
Yeah.
I'm brought up this way. I'm just practicing as automatic.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the idea behind it properly, of maybe when I'm greeting a person who's older than me, I have to bend down. I don't understand properly why I'm doing it, but I'm just doing it because I have been told to do it that way. Is that clear?
A little bit, honestly, but I understand.
What I'm trying to say,
yeah,
probably maybe today is not the time to, maybe you might have to come back. What I want to say, to understand the youth of today understanding of respect, in that way, and our way of, I'm talking as a parent, our way of understanding respect might be different to the youth of today.
Definitely.
Understanding and perspective, or the way of understanding respect might be different to us.
Yes.
So if we want to kind of build on it, or build another foundation on top of what respect is, we need to understand the respect, how people see respect today and how they see it yesterday.
Yeah. Would you be able to?
Do you need me to explain?
Just 1 second, because my guests need to go quickly and come back, as we don't actually have a pause. But that question, I'd like to answer it, but I need to let Josiane actually answer that question, as she's my guest. But if you can just bear with me 1 second. So yeah, so just apologies for everyone that's watching me right now. My guest has to quickly run out. We actually do not have a break, as the show is a combination between Facebook and YouTube, and so this is why, and because it's live, we cannot take a break. If you can just bear with me a couple minutes, and we are going to come back as soon as she comes back to us. All right, so
should I still stay online?
Actually, can you call back as soon as she's there? Oh wait, I will call you back as soon as she's coming back.
That's fine, thank you.
All right then, thank you so much. All right, guys. So we are definitely moving close to the end of the show, but my guest quickly went out for just a couple minutes. She will be back soon. As you all know, we've been talking about respect, how respect is so mandatory, and it's important for us to re-establish that, take the time that has been given to us by the government to rebuild that within our homes, to rebuild that, because yes, a mother is the one that definitely puts on this education and insert it, but the father has a role also to play. I think both of them plays an important role within a family, within someone's life, and this is the time. So I will say that there is a say that says that there's within something that is bad, you can also find something that's good. All right, so something that is so bad it is right now that the world is claiming, is shouting, saying that it is corona, is bad, but at the same time it is giving us the time to reinsert certain things that is being taken away from us. And so I'm quickly gonna have you back. Yes, come back.
Sorry, guys.
All right then. So we have her back, and so like I said, is these things that need to be reinsert, as it is very very important. I also wanted to add on something that you said. I used to work as a practitioner in a nursery, and I worked from 3 months up to 5 months, and I have my certificate as practitioner level 3 childcare. So what I've seen by working in the nursery, in the baby room, is that there are mothers who come to drop their children, like newborn baby. I mean, not like totally new, but 3-month baby. Yeah. And then they literally don't have a choice than to drop them so they can go to work or in school to be able to provide food on the table. So this situation has dropped now, it's a bad situation, but I take it as something positive for mothers who don't even have time to spend time with their children, to bond with their children. They see their children constantly with but not, I won't say strangers, but with somebody else who is cuddling them, who is treating them right. I mean, who is constantly with them, like 24 hours. And then now that you have that time, you cannot complain. I think this is the time for you to embrace it. Embrace as much as you can. Teach them the right things, as Josanne has just said. And we don't know how long really. Yes, the government is saying something, but then again, I always say, Dieu propose et Dieu donne et puis l'homme propose et Dieu dispose. Sorry, that is in French, but so we can plan certain things how we want it, but at the end of the day, God's way is always what usually always happens, regardless of what you do, regardless of what we say. So coming back to you, we said towards the end that would you agree with me if I say that obviously respect is listening, which you agreed with me? So why do you think that young people nowadays do not listen?
I think the lack of communication first, the lack of authority. Yes. Because I feel like in order for you to guide the same way that, we listen for God's instructions, for example, when God speaks, we know we need to obey. When God says it's the urgency of prayer, we know that it's time to pray. Like, we listen to him because of the authority. Yeah. First of all, he's God. Second of all, it's the authority. Yes. And I think as parents as well, we need to learn to be that figure in our child's life. And authority does not mean beat the child. I agree. Authority does not mean disrespect the child, because at the end of the day, nobody, whether you are 5, whether you are 3, want to be disrespected. Nobody. So in order for us to establish this friendship or this relationship or this authority that we're trying to have, we need to learn to work together. When the child is asking you for something, or the child is when the child is asking you for something, or there is a direction the child wants to take, you need to be able as a parent to also listen to why is it that this child wants to do this? Why is it that my child reacts the way he reacts? Is he going through something? Be considerate to their feeling as much as you want that respect back. Because even as I was growing up, my mom always used to tell me respect is both ways. Respect doesn't just come from the eldest to the youngest. Respect goes both ways. Yes. And as a parent, and I feel like within the African community, and I'm only saying this because I'm African myself, within the African community, I feel like adults struggle so much with giving that respect back. And they struggle so much because of the authority. No one wants to humble. Kids wants to do what they feel like they want to do.
Lots of ego, would you say?
Lots of ego, pride. So I feel like at this moment of confinement, this is the time where we start to break the barriers. If you are somebody that goes to work and you come back in the evening, you only see your child for 2 seconds, or you know kids, they take food, they go eat in their room. Some of us, we don't even see the child. We physically know the child is there. as we are growing, would you say that you are the same that you was 10 years ago? Would you say that the way you react to certain situation is the same that you reacted 2 years ago? We all grow every single day. Every challenges we overcome, every barriers we overcome, it brings some type of growth to each individual, which then makes each individual change in the way we receive things, in the way we do things. So it's just like the same way that we want this respect, the same way we need to get to know these children. Children need to learn to get to know their parents. We need to establish boundaries again. And I think this is the perfect time for us to do this.
The perfect time.
Speak to your kids, learn what's going on with them, learn how they feeling. Sometimes even just asking, Grace, how are you today?
And it's something like really parents don't really do much. I mean, I haven't, in my generation, my parents were not really asking me if I'm okay. Honestly, like I don't know if it's just like an African thing, but it was not. Oh, hi,
tough love.
It's really that tough love. It's like do as I say, and it is the way it is. So you can't.
And sometimes it's just giving affection. That's all kids need sometimes. They may not show it to you. Some people show lack of affection in anger. Because they feel like, well, I didn't get love, so I'm going to just show anger. Or some people show in ignorance. I've been ignored all my life, so I'm just going to ignore everything.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's we say body language and attitude as a form of communication. Sometimes it's noticing these small things. Noticing, why is this child always isolated? Why is this child, this period of confinement, why are you guys not together? What is it that you have in your phone that could be more important? Maybe learning to share them. Like maybe today, Grace gets to pick what we're going to watch in the show today. Maybe tomorrow, Josie Ann gets to pick her favourite YouTube thing that she wants to teach us. Let's have a teaching session with our kids. Let them teach us and let us teach them. Because there are things that we need to learn from them that we probably not have learned.
Exactly.
So don't just think because you are older or because you are the parent that you can't learn. They need to learn, and we also need to learn. We are in this world to learn. Learning does not end.
Exactly.
Even in the Bible, knowledge is key to everything. You need to keep learning.
I agree.
And God uses everyone, despite your age. God can use a 3-year-old to talk to you. God can use a 13-year-old to preach to you, and maybe the preaching of that 13-year-old could be more impactful for your life. So don't minimize an individual just because they are young. Don't minimize someone because you feel like, oh, they're only 13, that means their knowledge don't count. It counts.
I agree.
Let's be open to listening to one another. Let's be open to be united. Let's be open to different perspective of life. Maybe Grace views that, you know, doing the dishes maybe later on is her perspective. She wants to do it later. Maybe I think that this needs to be done this certain way. This is my perspective. But instead of you, especially at this time of confinement where we are all stuck in one roof, let's learn to make each other feel good and not each other feel angry or each other feel isolated or attacked, where kids are sitting in their room and they messaging each other going, oh, I hate this house. But let's build a home. Where we had houses, let's start to build homes.
I like that.
Let's start to build family. Let's start to build unity together.
And home is not the bricks and the walls, and the home is actually you and your family.
Your place of peace.
Exactly. So quickly, I have a question from a man of God that we all know as. I did ask. I put a word out there on Instagram, everywhere, social media. If you had any question, please do ask, and we will try, or my guest will try as much as she can to answer them. All right, as we're actually already running a bit late out of our time schedule, but his name is Pastor Lombo. For those who knows him, he's a gospel artist, but also a pastor. He's someone that the world really, I mean he's coming out. I mean, when it comes to the African side, most people knows him, and he's a very, very important person. So at this present moment, he literally asked, right, because he was thinking, like, what kind of question should I ask? And he said, why does it seem like in this generation there's basically more disrespectful than the previous one. So let me say this again. Why does it seems like this generation is more disrespectful than the previous one?
But disrespectful in what ways?
Like, I think maybe on the way, maybe verbally, because that's how people.
If we remain in one sector, in the sense of, you know, for example, when our parents say to us, "Oh, moi, quand j'étais ton âge, I used to da." You are comparing a different generation to a different generation. Even if we go back biblically, who honestly can say that they are, or they know the heart of God the way King David knew? That was a generation. Who can say that I have cried to the Lord the way Anna has cried to the Lord? That was a different generation. So why is it that we continue to compare our generation to the next generation instead of accepting that the time has changed? There is different things in life now. We've stressed so much about the social media impact. Yes, parents can say social media, c'est seulement un téléphone, tu rentres, tu sors. There is a different impact behind social media for the generation that are born with the social media. For us who have found the social media, we are totally different to the ones who are born with the social media.
True.
So our ways of respect can be calculated because of comparison. Because we're always comparing the past to the present, maybe that's why we see these kids are disrespectful, these kids are this kids are that. But it's also learning from them, teach them. If you feel like maybe Grace has done something wrong, or maybe Josiane has spoken something wrong, or her action was a bit wrong, speak to me. Because you don't know if I am aware of the body language I'm portraying to you. Because to me, for example, when we had our church service, I think 2 weeks ago, I know that putting my hands in my pocket while translating is a sign of disrespect.
Oh dear.
But in my head, because I was so gone with the translating, and because I'm not used to wearing jogging bottoms in church,
it was just like,
it was automatic. And I feel like there was so many moments that I kept putting my hands and I'm like, oh my God, I need to take it out. Oh my God, I need to take it out. And then I got caught, and then it was like, okay, cool, I can't be doing that. So sometimes it's just speaking. If you see something that you don't like, speak. Tell me, but tell me in a way that is going to bring growth to me. Not in a way that you are going to attack me. Not in the way that you will belittle me and make me feel like I'm nothing. Not in the way that you would make me feel like, you know, I am stupid or blah, 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 or I have lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom. But speak to me in a way that is going to help me grow, help me understand. Why can't I do this? Why is it that when I answer you in this tone, which I presume that is my normal tone, you feel attacked? You tell me, Grace, maybe the way you spoke to me, I didn't like it, Grace. I didn't like the tone of voice you used. It made me feel blah, blah, blah. That's bringing growth in your heart, because in your heart you're thinking, she didn't attack me. She just said to me that she doesn't like it. So next time I speak to Grace, I'll be like, oh, I remember last time Grace told me blah, blah, blah. And I know Grace doesn't like this. So I'm going to try and not to speak to her in this tone of voice. And sometimes even in church, sometimes the way I communicate with, let's say with the youth, we're loud. We are very loud.
We're quite
people.
loud. That's just
and
how
it's
we
not
are,
that we are aggressive, but in some people it may come across as
we are
disrespectful. But it's not. It's just we are loud generation. I don't know why we are loud.
I don't know.
We are just
maybe
loud.
the way it is. I can't explain to you myself.
I know, but we just project loudness.
Yeah.
That's just how we project. And sometimes when we're speaking to our parents, we may not understand, or we may not be aware of our tone of voice. But then because you are a parent and you have the authority and you feel like you need to hammer down the authority, instead of making us aware that your tone of voice wasn't correct, we get, yo, what's all over nanani? No. Automatically the child is closed. The child doesn't want to learn no more. The child is like, I don't want to sit down with them. Why are they always attacking me? Why are they always blah, blah, blah? But then it's difficult for the parents as well, because that's how they've been brought up. That's how they've been taught, and they're just trying to implement what they have. Even in the Bible, it says you can only give what you have. But then that doesn't mean we cannot continue to learn. And when you learn, you continue to obtain, which means you continue to project what you actually have.
Oh my gosh, spot
so
on.
I think that's all it is.
You actually
need to work together.
I like that. Oh yeah, there was someone who was really, really wanted to speak, and I think that was for you. Let's call her back, and then so she can explain, because she'll be the last person that we take in when it comes to question before we drop.
I think Mom had a question.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello, Mama Mireille. How you doing?
Hi, Mama Mireille.
Yeah, so my guest is back, and please do ask your question so we can try to answer.
Yeah, hi, Sosia.
Hi, Mama Mireille.
Yeah, I was asking a question earlier, but I think you have touched on it a little bit. So my question was that to explain to us, a parent, because I understand we're dealing with 2 or 3 different generations in terms of, when we're talking about respect or the understanding of respect. So I'm talking standing as a parent, and my understanding of respect might be different to your understanding of respect. I'm talking in general, your generation of today I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you just talked about it in our generation, the respect. If I had to talk about the way we are speaking, we were brought up to be quiet, speak at, low voice needs to be done when you are addressing an adult. But in your generation of today, when you in the country where we are, that we've been brought up to because even sometimes we do struggle with kind of understanding what is respect in certain culture. But in your generation, you've been brought up to speak loud. When you're speaking I'll say, for example, in the British way, when you're a quiet speaker, you can be misunderstood. But when you speak louder, it shows a sign of confidence.
Yeah.
But in my way of being brought up, speaking louder is a sign of disrespect.
Yes.
So you see, it's a two.
It's like a contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was my question. I was asking if you can explain your understanding of respect, so we can so we can bring our understanding of respect together and build something, build on top of it, and move forward. But I think you already kind of answered. I'm following you, and I think you've touched on it already. You explain it. You open it. You explain it clearly. So that's what I wanted to.
Oh,
that's
nice. Thank you. All right,
bye.
Then bye, Mommy. That's nice. You already touched the question, the question without even calling her. Well, we are definitely going towards the end, and then again, actually, before we go away and leave you on this Friday, I wanted us to touch on something. So we said also that, as we said, that respect is listening, and so to me right now we are going through something that is very important. We all know what it is. It's coronavirus has come and has done some damage that no one really expected expected to have right now. A lot of people are dead, a lot of things are happening. And so when it comes to you, can you please tell me as well a bit of how you feel about corona? When you first heard coronavirus and kind of went into, because you're studying medicine right now, how did you feel about it?
To be quite honest, since September we have been learning about this.
Oh wow.
Not about the coronavirus itself,
okay,
but we have been learning in microbiology that there is going to be a pandemic that is going to be very dangerous.
Yes.
We didn't know when it was going to occur, but we was learning that, the World Health Organization was fearing that there was going to be a pandemic that's going to happen.
This is
and that, there is so many pandemic that they're still researching, so many things that could, be passed into the world and things like that. And they were fearing that the next one was going to be very powerful. So it's funny because we were learning that in September. And from the pandemic itself, at first, when I first heard the news, I took it serious. I don't know about you guys, but I took it serious because these are things that I've been learning about. And me and my family, we've been self-isolating for about 4 weeks besides church. This is the only outings that we've been doing. And even at this moment in time, it may be scary, and I know there's the generation out there. I know there's all of this fear that's going around. We are seeing the news and it's just projecting negativity upon negativity. But I just want to ensure you that if you believe in God and you pray, and I say pray because this is the time, we have received everything. God has prepared you. You are equipped enough to take control now. This is the time that you see all them Sunday service we used to go to, all them Thursday service where the apostle used to preach to us. They were keys. Every day, every Sunday, we used to say, God, may the word of today be a key element for me. May the word of today be a key for me. This is your keys. You have a bunch of them in your hands. Do not fear. Even God said, do not fear. Trust in him.
Amen.
He will protect you. But this is the time where, as a united front of the people of God, this is where we start to stand up and pray. I don't care if you are 5. I don't care if you are 2. Pray. Prayer means speak. You can't tell me you don't know how to speak. And even in the Bible, it says that we have the power of life and death in our tongue. Declare life in your household. This will go by. It will go by. They all go by. There's nothing under the sun in this world that God still has not seen, or that the world has not seen. So it will go by. But don't let fear take over yourself. Don't let fear control how you react to this situation. And although social media is not portraying most of these things, but there are people who are actually recovering from this. There are people who are fighting the disease, the virus itself. And you will experience, maybe, I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying there will be people who experience fevers, coughing, whatever it is, but your body is strong enough to overcome this. But we need you guys to stay home.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if the fact that you have recovered from this, the fact that you are not showing any symptoms, we don't know if you have built an immunity to it. And there's still investigation going on around. But we don't want you to then risk going outside, either infecting someone and getting reinfected, and it becoming worse than what you have just fought. Yeah. Same way with chickenpox. We get it when we're young. When we get it when we're young, we have fevers, we have other symptoms, but we fight it, we get through it. But when you are older and you get shingles, for example, it will become worse and you can die from shingles. And this is why, as much as we believe that God's force is with us, God's grace is with us, the favor of God is upon us, we also need to respect what is being laid out here.
Meaning listening. This is where I wanted to go.
God is not only using the people of God. God is not only using the people that we see in church, or the people that preaches, or whoever. God is using whoever he needs to use at this moment and point in order to do what he needs to do.
Amen.
You are not the person in charge of your own destiny. You are just a simple instrument. God is using you, and he is going to put you where he needs to put you. But for that, you need to remain home and you need to trust in the Lord. And this is I think the biggest problem of the world is trust. Are we about to learn what trust is? Because you ain't got no choice but to trust now.
Yeah.
You need to trust.
Exactly.
But at the same time as you are trusting, you need to build. And this is what I mean by family life. Build that family life, because this is what I feel like this generation lacked. And we could talk about respect, but affection is what I feel like these kids lack. And this is why we see the violence outside. This is
maybe
why
that's why like children are disrespectful, maybe because of that reason.
So let's learn to be a family. Maybe this time has come for us to grow. This time has come for us to be united as a family. And I keep emphasizing on family because this is what we're doing during this lockdown. We are not with, some of us may be still at campus, staying with our next door neighbors, students and stuff like that. But this is a time where we need to learn to be together. Get on. Let's learn to love, because there's been a lot of hatred in this world already. Let's not come out of this where everyone is destroyed again.
Yeah.
But let's come out of this strong. Let's come out of this built together. Let's come out of this as a unity. Let's rebuild what has been destroyed. Because there is a lot of things in family life, children, the youth. You are God's next generation. You are called to continue this legacy. So therefore, instead of us destroying one another in this lockdown, let's start to build, have moment of prayers together with your family, which is important. Give them the keys, the equipment they need. Because tomorrow is not promised for either of us.
Exactly.
Tomorrow ain't promised, but we need to make sure that we leave whatever we need to leave. We need to make sure that at this moment here, that you fulfill your purpose. Because whatever God has put you in this world to do, you cannot return without completing this purpose. And we need to make sure that we are doing what God has called us to do. And if it's for you to teach your kids, that was your purpose. If it's for you to bring your kids to God, that is your purpose. If it's for you to rebuild this child and equip this child with the material, the strength, the power, the favor that he needs in his life, this is the moment to do so. Read the Bible with your kids together. Watch movies together. Learn to laugh together. Learn to rejoice together. So many people depend on friends and they don't know their own family. But this is the moment.
You just said that one right now.
Because even myself, I've gone through that period of time where I've probably confided myself more in friends than I confided into my family. But at this moment, the roles are reversing. I'm starting to learn. For example, I did not know Nathan loved Fortnite so much. I didn't know how to play Fortnite either, but I'm learning. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know that Jessica loved to talk. Like, we sit there, we talk, we laugh. Kian, he likes to make his little jokes. He even started doing his rapping. I didn't know he wanted to rap, and that's my own child. We are getting to know each other. My mom, she's baking every day. Of course, everyone's going to be putting on weight, but she is fulfilling her purpose. She's following what she loves to do. So we are all learning that, oh my God, you actually like to do that? You like to do that?
That's amazing.
Instead of breaking each other up, instead of projecting the anger that you're feeling, the fear, because fear causes anger. And if you are not together, you're just going to be an angry family and it's going to be horrible for you. So let's learn to love one another. If there is a neighbor that you feel like they are unable to do their shopping because they're vulnerable people, let's learn to show love to others. Even God said, love your neighbor as your own. This is the moment where we need to start putting God's word into practice. It's not like before where, you know, where you will pray and you'll be like, oh, that happened in the time of David. Come on, God, this ain't the time. Like, this ain't gonna happen. This is the moment.
This is the time.
You are marking your generation. All them prayers, mark your generation. This is it. Mark your generation. This is the time to mark your generation. This is the time to grow. This is the time to... You know, all them excuses we, oh my God, because I need to go to work, I can't be with you guys in prayer, because I've got God has shut down everything. And now, this is the time for you to project what you are inside. Start looking for answers. Look for what is it that God has called me to do. You want to do hair? Start figuring out some new styles. Exercise them in your hair, post them out. Let's see what you got, because no one has anything to do. We are all watching. We can't go anywhere. Everyone's on social media posting. We are all watching. So if you feel like your business needs to grow in social media, start posting it. Start working on your craft. If you feel like I want to be the top of my class when I go back in September, start learning, revising, finding materials that you feel like this is what I've always wanted to learn. You want to do law? Start researching them. You want to do makeup? Start doing them. This is the time to grow, not the time to cry, because in God we find peace. Amen. So why are you crying? In God we have comfort. Why are you stressed? You are not in control of this situation. God is. Why are you stressing? Find this time now to now do the things that you have been asking God to answer. You have been asking God to show you how to maybe be a better parent. You've been asking God to show you how to communicate. You've been asking God to show you how to do so many things. Or maybe you've been asking God to unite your family, to bring love into your family. This is the moment. Your prayers are being answered. Don't focus on just the negative. your prayers are answered.
Amen.
God is here. God has never abandoned you. He will never leave you. His mercy is here. His grace is upon you. His favor is on your life. Don't let the outside world make more noise than what you need. Listen to the voice of God. Listen to his direction. But while you are listening to his direction, be at peace. And that's all I pray, is that every family in London, in the UK, in Europe, in Africa, all over the world, I pray that you find peace within your family. I pray that God fills your family up with love, that you may now start to understand each other. You may be equipped, you may become strong, you may become capable now of taking the world.
Exactly.
The stuff that you weren't able to do last month, last year, God is now giving you the time to work on these craft. If whatever you needed to improve, this is the time. Do it. Use the time wisely, because we don't know. You might wake up tomorrow and Corona's finished, confinement is over. What have you learned? What have you brought up now? The world is ready. What have you got? That's all I'm asking, is get ready. Prepare yourself. Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready. And that's what it is.
Yeah, you covered everything, especially when it comes to the listening part. As we said, respect is also listening, and he definitely did cover that. And so we are definitely over our time when it comes to Etincelle. And we say that Etincelle is sparkle, is this small light, is also knowledge. Right? Bringing light into someone's life is bringing knowledge into someone's life. And so that's exactly what we did today. So you're probably going to like, oh, wait, the show is Etincelle, but what is it this Etincelle that she brought? Well, she covered it up, knowledge, right? We spoke about respect, which is really, we say, mandatory, and is you know, that small light that we're trying to enlighten. You know, you within your home. We cover so many things. So we are thankful that you've connected, that you were there since A to now Z, you know, with Z. I don't think we're American, right? So regardless what it is, you were there from the beginning till now, and so we want to say thank you for everyone. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you for everything you've said. Thank you for the calls, for everyone who called today, and to make this show really, you know, important and amazing. So I also wanted to thank you, Josiane. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the last time, because a lot of people need that knowledge of yours. And so thank you so much for you, and we are going to see you next Friday. I mean, for the time being that we have the situation of Corona, we may be doing lives around 2 p.m. and so until everything comes back to normal. So we're probably gonna ask you to connect next Friday around 2 p.m. again with someone else who will probably bring us another Etincelle in our life. And so thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Thank you.
Woo, that was
Hello guys, how you guys doing? It's me, your girl Gracia Susuzande. Of course, you know me from this amazing, beautiful videos on YouTube, doing all these tutorials for you guys. And also, why not on Miss Africa GB 2018 and Miss Congo 2018? Well, right now I'm coming with something fabulous. I'd like to present to you your new TV show, which is going to be called Etincelle. This show is going to be happening every single Friday at 7 p.m. on Bethel TV. So you probably want to find out why Etincelle. Well, Etincelle is a French word for sparkle. For Etincelle, I would like to bring light into someone's life from the dark place where they are, not knowing really who they are and where they're going, or trying to bring them into the light to really wanting to find out and get to know exactly who they are. And with that, I'll be inviting amazing people who got amazing testimony to be able to help you that is going through so much, that you feel like your life is so blurry, that you don't really know your self-identity. These people will be able to help you as themselves have gone through that, you know. So my message to you today is that God has your back. He got you and will not let you go. That you can come from somewhere and go somewhere. Etincelle. You can now catch me live on Facebook, on Bethel TV, sharing the gospel around the world. Every single Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Connect yourself, don't miss it, as this is going to be a life changer.
Bethel TV, sharing the gospel around the world. La bonne nouvelle en tout temps et en tout lieu.